Hello, guys. Are we excited to be here today?
Yes, I am.
I am excited. Yeah.
Doing
All
great.
right.
Yes, we're excited.
We could also use the chat box. All right. So I'm looking at the
Okay.
chat box so that we can have a very interactive session. All right. And let's all keep our videos off that we can concentrate on me. Okay. So welcome everyone. Yeah, I can already see the energy in the chat. So people are saying we are happy to be here. Okay, fantastic one. So for those of us who don't know me, my name is Mohammed Suleiman. I'm a senior data associate here at Analytics. With about 5 years of industry experience cutting across a number of sectors. All right, and this has allowed me to train close to 2,000 participants and also help a good number of them get jobs across the globe. All right, and today we'll be doing something very, very interesting. How many of us know the title of today's session? We just joined the session. How many of us know the title of today's session? How many of us know? Just in one word, tell me the title of today's session. What are we doing today? In one word. Python. Fantastic. Thank you, Victor. Only Victor? Only, okay, fantastic. Data visualization in Python. Okay. Now, if I ask you, what's that one word you can use to describe your experience with Python? That's if you've ever used Python before. Do you think Python is difficult or do you think it's easy? So let's hear our responses. Easy or difficult? Fridal says frustration. Okay. Salutin says pythophobia. Stevie says difficult. People are saying difficult. Wow. Nobody has found, okay, intermediate, easy to learn. Fantastic, Hafsa. Thank you for that. My first, so I won't talk, but I'm here to learn. Fantastic. Akinola says in between. Adaje says interesting. Fantastic. Now, a lot of us have diverse, views as regards Python. But today, I want you to, that's the more reason why you should stick to the end of today's session. And then I'll ask the question again, and let's see if, our view changes. So I'll go ahead and share my screen now. Right, just a moment. So once you can see my screen, type a yes in chat. Okay, type a yes in the chat once you can see my screen. So let's all mute. Let's ensure. Hello guys, let's ensure we are all mute, all right, so that we can concentrate on today's session. Okay, so I want us to have an interactive session, but we still have to stay mute, up until the time I begin to ask my questions. All right. So a moment. Okay. Just 1 second. All right. So once you can see my screen big and bold, let me know. All right. Let me know. And then we go on with today's session.
Please, my hand has been up. I have a question, please.
I'll take questions later during the session, right? I'll take questions later during the session.
No, not about. I want to ask which of the Pythons we should download. I'm struggling. I don't even. And they said they were going to share resources so that maybe we would follow. I didn't get any resources. I registered on the link.
So what will happen, all right? What will happen is just relax and follow the session, okay? Enjoy the session. You'd still get the recordings. You get all the materials, including the data sets for today's session. So I would beg us to stay mute, all right? We'd have an interactive session. You're going to enjoy it, trust me, okay? So all the materials you need to repeat whatever will be done today, you'd get it, all right? As long as you register. So just relax, no pressure, okay? So once again, welcome to today's session. My name is Mohammed, if you're just joining us. So again, please, let's keep our videos off, okay? My name is Mohammed Suleiman. I'm a senior data associate here at Analytics. All right. And I have about 5 years of industry experience cutting across several sectors. Okay, and I've trained close to 2,000 participants. And I also mentioned that I've helped a number of them get jobs across the globe. And we'll be talking much, about that later in today's session. Okay, but first things first. Now, for those of us who uh, may be joining our session for the first time. So Tenalytics is an edtech firm, okay, and we are passionate about helping the Black folks, the Black people, the people of the Black community get into the world of tech. Okay, when you look at the tech ecosystem on the global front, you would see that not many Black people, are in there. So, and it's not because of any other reason than the fact that the entry barrier is so high. Okay, and what we stand for here at Analytics is lowering that entry barrier. And you'd have a feel of what that is in today's session. Okay, and we take courses cutting across data analytics, business analysis, data science, data engineering, power platform engineering, HR analytics, financial analytics, and so on and so forth. Okay, and you'd have top of the class facilitators, okay, walk you through step by step. All right. In our program, we bring in top guys in the tech world, all right, and they would walk you through step by step. And again, you are going to be having a feel of all this, all right. What does it feel like, being in one of our program in Analytics, all right? And we have professionals working with the biggest and the best organizations across the world, okay, from Apple to Microsoft to Sahara to KPMG, and the list goes on and on. All right, and we have fantastic founders. Okay, we have fantastic founders. We have Adeza Suleiman. Adeza Suleiman has about a decade, close to a decade of industry experience cutting across the sports sector, the automotive sector, as well as the energy sector. Right, and he has trained close to 9,000 participants and also helped, a good number of them get jobs across the globe. All right. We also have Efemena April. Efemena April is the co-founder of Tenalytics, right? Works as a data engineer, data scientist. He's literally a data architect, all right? So he's a wonderful professional in the space, also close to about a decade of experience, in multiple sectors as well. He also holds a master's degree. That's a very interesting, fact to note. All right, and you can always connect with them. Okay, connect with them. You get this material at the end of the call. Okay, and do well to go through it. All right, and connect with them. Now, in 2022 alone, we had a lot of achievements, and what we pride ourselves in is the fact that we can boast of the fact that we've helped a very good number of people transition right from the classroom, right, to landing their first tech jobs. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the session, I'll be talking more about this. Okay, so very interesting to know. And our participants now work with the best of the best organizations across the globe, from Microsoft to Amazon to Cognizant, to PwC, and the list goes on and on. All right. Now, our good work has also featured on many media outlets across the world, from Business Day to Nairametrics to Punch, all of them reiterating the fact that here at Analytics, we are passionate about helping Africans and people of the Black community land tech jobs anywhere across the globe. All right. We also held data hackathons last year and early this year, right, where 5 participants, went home with the winning prize. Okay, and you can read more on the details of every of this, information when you get the slide. Okay, you would also see TechAbout. TechAbout, reiterated the fact that we offered 300 women scholarships to learn to get into tech, making it easier for the women folk, and also encouraging them, to get into the world of tech. All right. So once again, let's all remain muted. All right, let's all remain muted. Okay, so that we can have a very orderly session, an interesting session. So in the hackathon we held this year, all right, we had 4 fantastic judges, all right, and I want you to take a look at the quality of judges, the quality, and try to imagine, the level of feedback that our participants got, during the data hackathon. $1,000 was up for grabs, all right, and we had Michelle Conway. Michelle Conway is the lead data scientist at Lloyd's Banking Group, all right? And she graced that session during that time, all right, and gave fantastic feedback. We also had Said Akintola from Google, all right, works as the smart analytics customer engineer at Google. We have Sebastian Obeta. Sebastian Obeta is a data scientist based in the UK, and he's also an AI expert, an AI researcher, all right? We also had Olamide Jolasho on the call during that particular hackathon. And you needed to witness the hackathon, okay, and you needed to see the level of insights that our participants got from that particular hackathon. And you can always do well to watch the hackathon here. Okay. Now today, we are going to be doing something very interesting. And I'm not sure, am I the only one that cannot wait to see what we have for today? So a lot of people say, oh, Python is difficult. And you would have seen in the chat earlier when when I asked, oh, how have we found Python? Okay, how have we found Python so far? So, and you'd see the level of simplicity, we offer here at Tenalytics. Okay. So if you found Python very difficult before, don't worry. I would encourage you to stay till the end of this session. So somebody's asking, how do we get the recording? Don't worry. You'd get the recording, by filling in the attendance, all right? And also wait till the end of the session. So Vivian is saying, I can't wait. Vivian is also saying, I'm delaying us. So am I delaying you? Are you anticipating? Are you anticipating what we have? Okay, so fantastic. Now I'll be talking a bit about visualization strategy, all right? And this is not a knowledge you can carry over to many other tools, not just Python alone, right? And then we'll get into one of the most interesting parts of today's session, which is we'll be building some charts in Python, in Jupyter Notebook, all right, using Python. Okay, I'll be working with some libraries. I'll explain what libraries mean in a bit, all right? And I'll talk about the upcoming data science cohorts, right, on the 7th of October, okay? And also, I'll be talking about the the Tenalytics Growth Internship Program, all right? So stick around and you see what we have for today. So today, we'll be looking at a case study. And again, like I said, this is a snippet of what we offer at Tenalytics, all right? So we want you to, experience firsthand what it is to be one of our participants at Tenalytics, okay? Now, you'd agree with me that any organization that deals with customers, okay, would succeed if they have a good understanding of their customers. Do we all agree? Look at the top organizations in the world, right? The big guys. How do they succeed? How do you think they succeed? You think understanding their customers, have played a part in their success? Let's see our responses in the chat. Let's see your responses in the chat. Carl says yes. Vivian says yes. Steven says yes. Samsung says yes. Kamaru says yes. Fridal says yes. Fantastic. Okay. Now, so if we all agree that understanding our customers is very key in our success as a business, then it's important for us to make it easy for us to understand our customers. And one way to do that is by visualizing data, right? Is by visualizing data. Okay. Now, and that's just what we have for today. So today we'll be looking at some variables. We have some key areas we'll be looking at within the business, which is we'll be looking at the ages of our customers, the gender, their annual income, and their spending. So we want to concentrate our effort on this. So one way to quickly understand our customers is by visualizing the data, okay? Turning data from rows and columns into very, easy to understand charts, okay? Very easy to understand charts. Sorry about that. All right. Now, let's take a step further, and we'll be building some, very cool charts. Okay, we'll start from something very easy to easy. So we'll walk away from easy to easy. How many of us understand what I mean? From easy to easy. How many of us understand what I mean? How many of us understand what I mean? Just say yes or say I do in the chat if you understand what I mean. We're working our way from easy to easy. So these are the charts, some of the charts that we'll be working together on today. We'll build it together here on this call, right? And then we'll start to talk more about it. So you looking at it now, it may not make any sense to you, right? But you'll build it together, and then I would ask you again, what do you think about Python, right? So you get the slides, you get access to the data sets, but if you still want to code along with me, right? Still want to code along with me, you have your Python open, you can access the link in the chat. I've put it in the chat. Download the copy of the data set and follow me. Okay, and follow me. All right. So guys, let's keep mute. Okay. All right, let's keep mute so that we can get the best out of today's session. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So let's get started. Right. So let's get started. All right. So yeah, the data set I'm going to be working with is customers data. All right. So if you've seen the link in the chat, you can get a copy. If you don't have your Jupyter notebook open, you don't need to panic. All you need to do is sit back, relax, enjoy today's session. Okay, enjoy today's session, and you'd get to replicate it on your own at the end of today's session. So I'll copy the path of this. I need the location. Okay, what's a Jupyter notebook? Somebody's asking what's a Jupyter notebook. That's the platform where you write your Python codes. So even if you have no idea, absolutely no idea, that's exactly why we are here. So the essence of today's session, again, is for you to have a feel of what Python looks like if you've never witnessed Python before. And if you have some experience, you think Python is difficult, like many of us mentioned during the beginning of the call, let's see if you have a change of mind. Okay. Now, what I would do is I would copy the file, the path, okay, the file path of this file. Okay, this is the file I want to use within Python. Okay, so I'll copy it. Okay, and then we'll go into Python. I'll just copy, keep it, and then go into Python. Okay, so let's copy that. So I'll just click inside the address bar. Okay, and then right click and then copy. All right, and that's all I need. Okay, right click and copy. Okay, so another way to copy is click on the data set once, shift and right click, and copy as path. So I have the path to this particular data set in here. Okay, so I have it in here. So yeah, I can go to Jupyter Notebook now. Okay, so this is what Jupyter Notebook looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like. If you've used Python before, you would have seen it. If you have not used Python before, okay, you don't need to worry. All right, you don't need to worry, and that's why we are here as Tenalytics. Okay, what I want you to focus on for today's session is, what do you think about Python? All right, so now the first thing we'll do is to bring in the data set into this environment. We'll bring in the data set into this environment. But before we even do that, we need to give a very nice title to our work today, right? So anyone wants to suggest, who wants to suggest a title for us in the chat? Suggest a title for us in the chat to use for today's session. So somebody's asking for the data sets. So I've put the link in the chat again. I've put the link in the chat. I've put the link in the chat. So go to the chat. You'd see the link to the data set sent by me. Right? So people say Python masterclass, Python visualization made easy, customer demography. Okay, Python masterclass, visualization with Python for beginner. Fantastic, fantastic suggestions. So what I'll call this, all right, I'll bring it all together. So I'll say, well, I like the Python. Okay, somebody says skinning the Python. Fantastic. So I like that too. So skinning the Python, and somebody said Python visualization made easy, and that's the whole essence of today's session. Say Python V's made easy. Python V's made easy. So because I want to use it as a title, right? Because I want to use it as a title, okay? So I'll click on where I have code here. This is a cell, right? So I'll click on code and turn it to a markdown cell. I'll turn it to a markdown cell and run it, okay? And run it, and you can see it looks more like a title. Python V's made easy, all right? Python V's made easy. Okay, so yeah, by all means, give yours a title if you are coding along with me. Okay, so again, we mentioned the first thing we'll do, right, is to bring in our data sets. But for those of us who are new, into the world of Python or tech, how do we do that? Now in Python, there are several things, there are several terms. And one term you need to understand is what we call libraries. Libraries. So when you hear library, what comes to your mind? Not the Python. So those who know exactly what I'm talking about, don't answer. All right. So I want those who have no idea to actually try to answer. Okay. If you have no idea what Python is, and even if you have an idea, what comes to mind? Let's say your kid approaches you and says, "Oh, daddy, I learned," or "Mommy, I learned what library is today." What comes to your mind? Someone says collection of books. Diana says books. Information warehouse. So we have some technical guys in house. Where to get info, where books and materials are kept, where you kept books. Fantastic book storage. Fantastic. Now, guys, libraries, somebody says database. Fantastic, diverse opinions. So libraries are just as what you guys have said, where you store things, okay? And then it means when you need a book from the library, you access the library and then you get whatever book you have. So how many of us also remember Merlin? Do we all remember? It's been a long time. So how many of us remember Merlin, the series? How many of us remember Merlin, the series? Can we all remember Merlin? So Yetunde says yes, so Merlin, exactly. Now, if you remember very vividly, okay, I'm not a very good narrator, but if my memory serves me right, sometimes when any character in that movie wants to learn a new art, I won't call it magic, all right? I'll just call it art for now. So when they want to learn a new art, they go to a library and get a book, and then they learn the new art and they start to invoke the art. Can we all remember? Can we remember that? We have scenes like that where exactly Omoyeni says yes, Samson says yes, fantastic. Exactly. That's the same way it is in Python. So for you to do anything, to bring in data, to analyze data, to visualize data, you need to call on the particular library that allows you to do that. So I don't want to use words like cast spell, all right? So, but that's it's almost very similar. Okay. So again, let's keep our videos off, right? Keep our videos off and let's stay muted. So Mina, your video is on. Please keep your video off. Right? Thank you for that. So that's the exact thing we'll do today. Okay, that's the exact thing we'll do. So let's bring in the data, right? Let's bring in the data. Bring in the data. So to bring in the data, we need to call on a particular library called pandas. Okay, pandas. So we'll say import pandas, import pandas as PD. Import pandas as PD. So we've called on the library. So this is the particular library we need that allows us to bring in our data set into their into the environment, and then we can start to massage our data sets. So I've brought in pandas as PD, and what this means is this is Panda. The pandas is the library, the name of the library that allows us to bring in our data, and we want to rename it as PD so that it's easier for us to call on pandas. So we brought in pandas, which is the library. Remember your Merlin, right? And then we renamed it as PD. So it's easier for us to easily call, it's easier for us to easily call, on pandas. Okay. So now let's go on. So the next thing we want to do is load the data. Okay. Load the data. So let's load the data. Now we are armed with pandas. So let's load the data. So the first thing we'll do is this. Okay. The first thing we'll do is I'll create something. I'll create a name called file path. Then I'll put in the the location of the data set inside file path, and then I can call file path anywhere. And this is how it is. So I'll say file path equals okay. And then you remember I copied the file path. Remember I copied the file path. Do you remember I copied the file path? Do we all remember that I copied the file path? Yes. Fantastic. Okay. So I'll paste in that file path now. Okay. I'll paste in the file path. So I'll paste it. Yeah, so this is it. So the last thing I copied. So I'll paste in the file path. So I've pasted in the file path now. Okay. But there's one thing I need to do. So to make the file path readable by Python, I would put letter R in front of the file path, just like so. Letter R in front of the file path, just like I have it in here. Okay. And then I go to the next line. Okay. And I say, so now this is my file path. So I can easily say file path instead of pasting in the raw file path whenever I need it. Okay. Now, I would also create another name, say df. And df would be the name I'll call my data set. Okay, so whatever my data set is, I want to call it df. Whatever my data set is, I'll call it df. So I'll say df equal to PD. Remember we brought in pandas as PD. Okay, remember we brought in pandas as PD. So we'll say PD, all right, PD.read underscore CSV. All right, so I'll type it in and I'll explain. All right, I'll type it in and explain. Okay, so PD.read CSV. All right, and then I'll open a bracket and type in file path. So what this does is this. Okay, what this does is now I've leveraged the library pandas. Okay, I've leveraged the library pandas to bring in my data sets. And what I want to bring in, I want to bring in the data sets. I want to bring in the data set as file path. So I've already said my file path is this. So I don't need to paste in the file path again. All I need to do is to say file path. Okay. And then one more thing we need to do, all right, is let's show the first few rows. So let's show the first few rows. Okay, so let's show the first few rows. And to do that, I'll say df dot head. Now, I don't want you to bother about trying to memorize all what I'm typing. Don't focus on the codes that I'm typing. And I'll talk more about the reason why you should not focus on the codes. So as a data scientist, you are not a coder, right? You are not a coder. So I'm trying to make it highly relatable, and that's what you want to focus on. So the concepts behind what I'm writing, do you understand it? If yes, then stick around. Okay, so all I need to do is to run this cell. All right, I'll run this. Okay, and guys, what can we observe? What do we observe in here? What do we observe? You see, you now have the first 5 rows of your table. You have the first 5 rows of your data set. All right, you have the first 5 rows of your data set. So this is a snippet of what your data set looks like. All right, so it's very easy. Type in the name, bring in the the file path. All right, and then use your PD, okay, your PD to bring in the data. All right, and then you have a look at the data by typing df.head, and that's all. All right, df.head, and that is all. Okay, now you can also, there are several ways you could also put in the file path directly, right? But this is not what we are here to do today. What I want us to do is visualizing, right? Visualizing. And you saw those nice charts that I showed you at the beginning. All right, so we'll start to create it. We'll create from very simple charts to even simpler charts. All right, so join me. So for the first thing we want to do, all right, is you notice that you have some columns. You have the customer ID, you have the gender, male or female, you have the age of the customer, you have the age group, teenager, youth, middle-aged. You have annual income. So on an annual basis, how much does each of these customers earn? And their spending score. And their spending score is graded from 0 to 100. So that gives us, how likely a customer is to spend, right? As far as the organization is concerned. So the first thing we want to look at, right? The first thing we want to look at, okay? The first thing we want to look at is let's look at the distribution between male and female, as far as the data set is concerned. Okay, so we have gender. So let's look at gender first. Okay, let's look at gender first. Now, we want to have something that looks like this. We want to have, let me show you. So I'm just taking us back to our slide so that this is what we want to create. We want to create a column chart, okay, that looks like this. Okay, we want to create a column chart that looks like this. All right, so let's create it together. Okay, let's create it together. Now, to do that, let's just give it a title. Let's say chart 1. And you'll notice anytime, I want to just I'm trying to, label a particular cell. Okay, I'll start with a hashtag. And you'll notice when I use the hashtag here, so it deactivates whatever I type after the hashtag, okay, so that it doesn't run as a code, all right? Because if you don't do that, it's going to throw up an error, okay? So anytime you want to just, describe what you're about to do in a particular cell, you may want to use the hashtag. Okay, you may want to use the hashtag. Now, we are getting into it, all right? We are getting into it. Now, the first chart we want to build is a bar chart, okay? And before you visualize in Python, just like, what we talked about, bringing in data, we needed to call on a library, okay? We called on a library, or have we all forgotten? We called on a library, to bring in our data. So we also need to call exactly pandas. Okay, we called on pandas to bring in our data. Now we need to call another library that allows us to visualize data. Okay, that allows us to visualize data. And the name of that library is matplotlib.pyplot. So I would say import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So even without me explaining what I've done, okay, can we all tell me, just type in the chat, so what does this mean? We imported pandas as PD, we called it PD. So what nickname have we given matplotlib now? What nickname have we given matplotlib? What nickname have we given matplotlib? PLT, fantastic, PLT. So it means across our task for today, we won't say matplotlib, right? We'll say PLT, right? PLT. So that's the nickname we're giving matplotlib. So the first thing we'll do is would first prepare the data. Let's prepare the data that we want to use for our bar charts. Okay, our column chart rather. So let's prepare the data. Okay, so let's prepare the data. So now, what we want to do is, okay, but what is matplotlib.pyplot? Now, just like pandas is for bringing in your data, matplotlib allows you to visualize your data. So we brought in our data, but we want to visualize it. We want to see, have a look at what this data set looks like. Or is there anybody on this call, who I would hand over the data set to, and you'll be able to tell me, you'll be able to describe how the customer spent. Would you be able to tell me straight away from the data set without visualizing? Okay. Do we have more male than female or more female than male in the chart, in the data set? It's not going to be easy, right? It's going to take you time. It's possible. You could sit down and count, okay? You want to count through, let's say, 200 rows or even more of data, right? So what you need to do, right? What you need to do is you need to visualize, right? So what you can see here, the table you can see here is just the first few rows of the data. So the data is still long, right? So it's going to take time for you to sit down and count. So that's the essence of visualizing. So matplotlib allows you to do your visualization within Python, right? So, and again, you don't need to bother yourself about matplotlib. Just focus on the concept. And that's the mistake a lot of people make. They think Python is by memorizing codes, and it's far from it. All you need to do is to understand the concepts behind the codes itself. All right. So let's prepare our data. So what we'll do now is this: because we want to look at the gender. Okay, so we'll call out the gender from the data set. We'll create a name and then we'll call out the gender. Then we'll count. We'll tell Python, I want you to count the gender. I want you to count the gender. So let's do that. So let's create a name. We'll say gender count. So gender count, all right? Gender count equals, so now we want to call out the data. We want to call out the gender column from the data. We want to call out the gender column from the data. Okay, we'll call it out. Now, we all know how we call people out on Twitter. All and Twitter and Facebook, correct? How we drag people on Facebook and Twitter. Exactly. So when you want to call people out, okay, you pinpoint them. So we'll do that here in Python. So remember when I brought in my data, I said whenever I want to reference my data, whenever I want to do anything with my data set, I would call it df, right? df. So I'll type in df, okay, df, and then I'll open a square bracket. I'll open a square bracket. So just like your arts, all right, you use your df instead, okay, and your df stands for your data, so it allows you to reference your data. Now I've opened a square bracket, and inside the square bracket I'll type in the name of the column I want to call out. So that way Python will go and pick that particular column from my data set. So, and what's the name of the column where I have male and female? Guys, can we help me? What's the name of the column where I have male and female? What's the name? What's the name of the column where I have fantastic gender? So the question was, that's for to Omoyeni. What's the name of the column that has male and female? So the name of the column is gender, just like everyone are saying. So gender. So now I'll type gender the exact way I have it here. Then I'll put it in inverted comma, just like this. Okay. So gender, I'll type in gender just the way I have it here. All right. Just the way I have it in my data set, gender. So and this calls out my gender column. Now I'll tell Python count each gender within that column. Count the gender within that column. And to do that in Python, we use value count, right? Value count. Okay, value count. So if you type in lowercase, you're not going to get the same result, all right? You won't get the same result. So you have to type in the exact way it is in the data, right? And I'll show you an easier way to do that now, all right? So we've counted the gender column now. So let's create the bar chart itself. Okay, so let's create the bar chart itself. So I'll reduce the space in here. All right, so now our next task is let's create the bar chart. Create the bar chart. Right, so let's create the bar chart. So to create the bar chart, okay, I would use my PLT. Do you remember we brought in PLT? We brought in matplotlib as PLT, right? So now I would use my PLT to describe to Python. So what you're actually doing as a data scientist is you're describing your charts to Python, and then Python pops it out for you. That's exactly what you're doing. So all you need to do is just understand the the explanation behind the codes. The code itself, we'll talk more about it, right? So let's create the bar chart. So plt dot figure, plt dot figure, okay, plt dot figure, and I open a bracket. And what I'm telling Python now is I want to create a chart. So anytime you want to create a chart, you start with the figure, right? plt dot figure. So, and this allows me to determine what the figure size should be. So I'll say fig size equals 8 by 5. And I'll explain, right? 8 by 5. Now, what this does, all right? What this does, guys, is PLT allows me, okay, to determine the size of my chart. So now, 8 is for how wide the chart is. So the width and then the height will be 5. So it means that however my chart would look like, it will be wider than it is tall. So I'll have a wide chart, okay, 8 by 5, okay, 8 by 5. But inside that figure, what do I want? I want a bar. I want a bar chart. So I'll say plt dot bar, plt, not plr, plt.bar, okay, plt.bar, okay, plt.bar, and then I open a bracket. Now, I want the names of the categories, the name of the gender, meaning male and female, right? Male and female to be underneath. Okay, so I would say gender count. So because I've already counted gender as gender count, so I'll call out gender count. So gender count dot index. Gender count dot index. What this does for us is it tells Python, okay, go and look for the different categories within within that column. So in my gender column, I have male and female, right? So and then next I move on to what should the size of the bar be? How tall should the bar be? So and I want it to correspond to the values, all right, to the values that I have in gender count. So I'll say gender count again, gender underscore count dot values, right? Gender underscore count dot values. Okay, and this is a good time now to do one interesting thing. Okay, I'll put a comma, and I'll say color. So this allows me to give colors to my bars. Okay, it allows me to give colors to my bars. So I'll say color, open a square bracket, okay, and I'll type in the first color, blue, put it in inverted comma. All right, the first color is blue. Okay, I want the first bar to be blue, and then the second to be pink. I want the second to be pink. All right, I want the second to be pink. All right, I want the second to be pink. So this sounds like we are done, right? But we still need something. Okay, we still need something. And what do we need? We need to label our charts just like we have it here. So we've determined the figure size, so 8 by 5, right? And we've said Python should index. So Python has saying, oh, this is male, this is female, and this is male, right? So, but we need these titles in here. We need to call this gender, we need to call this count. So how do we do that in Python? Okay, and this is how. Now, I will say to add titles, all right? To add my titles, all right? To add titles, okay? To add my titles, all right? So I'll give my x-axis. I'll give my x-axis a name and my y-axis a name. Now, you know our chart has a vertical axis and a horizontal axis. So the horizontal axis is what we call the x-axis, okay? And then the vertical axis is what we call the y-axis. So we'll give them a name, okay? And it's very easy. It's very easy. How do we do that? We'll say plt dot x label. Plt dot x label. So you are telling Python, whatever I'm going to give you now, I want you to put it on my horizontal axis as the title of that axis. Okay? And I'll open a bracket and type in gender again. I'll type in gender. So I want gender to be the title of my X label because I'm going to have female and male or male and female in there, right? So I have that. So I'll do that for the y-axis, okay, also. So I'll say plt dot y label, very similar to the X label, just change it to y. And I can call it number of customers. Number of customers. Okay, number of customers. And one more thing, I'll give my chart a title. Let's give my chart a title. So
I'll beat you.
So that plt, sorry, can we all mute? All right, plt dot title. So I'm giving my chart a title now. Plt dot title. Okay. And my title, I want the title to be distribution of gender. Distribution of gender. Okay, and that is all I need to do. That is all I need to do. So, but how do we see our charts? I'll tell Python again, plt dot show. Show me the charts. All right. Show me the charts. And I run this. All right. I run that. And you see, I have the charts. Can we all see these guys? See, I have number of customers. I have female, male, and gender. So from this chart now, guys, from this chart, okay, from this chart, what can we say? What can we say? What can we say about the charts concerning, the gender distribution of customers? What can we say, guys? There are more male than female. Let's look at the label well again. More females than male, more females than male. Fantastic. All right. So the reason why I took my time for this first chart, all right, is because I want you to understand some key concepts. So by the time we go on, okay, I'll be a little bit speedy. All right. So we may not create all the charts together, okay, but we'll create key charts together, and then we can go ahead. Okay. So again, don't bother yourself about the code. Don't bother yourself about the codes. All you need to do is to understand the concept. So you know now that, oh, before I do anything in Python, I need to bring in a library, right? So what library do I bring? Okay, will now be the next question. Okay, so we have more female than male. Very good. And you can see how significantly more or insignificantly more, depending on how you want to put it, all right? The female gender compares to the male, all right? So that is for our gender. So we've seen what we have, as far as gender distribution is. So we'll create together now another chart, a pie chart. Let's create a pie chart. Okay, let's create a pie chart. And this is very easy. Do we all know what a pie chart looks like? Have we all seen, do we all know what a pie chart looks like? Do you know what a pie chart looks like? Okay, fantastic. Okay, like circle, fantastic, circle chart, yeah, circle. So a good number of us know what a pie chart is, right? So we'll do that, and you see how easy it is. Okay, you just need to, okay, like a pizza, fantastic. So exactly, you have slices in a pie chart like pizza. Okay, very good. Now we'll do that together. We'll be a bit quick, not too quick that you will not understand, but we'll be quick because a pie chart does not have X or Y axis. So we don't need to waste time, declaring our X or Y axis. All we need to do is would call out the column we need as usual, right? And then would describe the way we want the pie chart to be to Python. Okay, we'll describe it. We'll do some coloring, and we would see the pie charts. Then the final thing we'll do is just plt.show. So going out of this session now, you already know that to show your chart, it is simply plt.show in Python. As simple as that. So that's how to tell Python, show me. So let's describe our pie charts. So the first thing we need to do again is let's call out the column we need. Let's call out the column we need. Right? So, but I don't want to scroll up before I have to see the columns. All right. I don't want to have to scroll up. So let's first see what the columns look like. Let's first see what the columns look like. So I can say df.columns. df.columns, and I run that. Okay, df.columns. Remember, df is the name of my data set. When I brought it in, it's df. All right. So I brought in df dot. I called out the columns of my data set. df.columns is that simple. So whatever your data set looks like, when you want to call out the column headers, df.columns. Simple and short. Now, you can see I have customer ID, gender, age, and here I can easily see what my column headers look like. So again, let's call out the column we need. So let's look at age group. So we have certain age group. If you look at the data set, you have teenager, youth, middle-aged, all right? And if you want to have a look at the data set, how the data set looks like, once again, just df.head. open brackets, you have it here again. So we have teenager, you, middle age. All right, so let's look at the age group in form of a pie chart. Okay, now because we want to you know, because we want to create a pie chart, okay, we'll take the same strategy we used in here. So let's prepare our data, we'll call it out. So we'll give it a name. So this one we'll call it gender count. So let's call this age group count, right? So I'll say prepare the data, prepare the data, prepare the data, okay? And I'll say age group counts, right? Age group count equals, now I want to call the column out, okay? And I must make sure I put in the name of the data set, then square brackets, the column name, just the way I did here, all right? So instead of gender, I would call out age group, all right? I would call out age group. So I'll say df, my square brackets, then in quotes, I'll say age group, and you can see how it's written here. Okay, you can also lift it from here by copying, and then you put it here, age group. So you have to ensure the spellings are correct. So age group, just like it is here. So when you are calling out the column, you need to call it the same way it is within the data set, all right? But when you are giving a name, you can use a freestyle. You can, you can freestyle whatever name you want to give your data. So I call it age group count, okay? So again, I'll tell Python to count this. I'll tell Python to count this, and this is how you tell Python to count. Value underscore count. Value underscore count. Value underscore count. So I'm telling Python, go to the age group column and just count each of the categories we have in there. All right. Now, the next thing I'll do is let's describe our pie charts. Describe our pie charts. And that's exactly what you're doing when you're visualizing data. And Python is a powerful tool that you can use, right, for data visualization. Very, very powerful. And I'll show you what I mean by powerful, okay, by the time we complete today's tasks. All right, so describe our pie chart. So let's describe our pie chart. And just like we did before, remember we called our figure. We called our figure and we gave it 8 by 5, right? 8 by 5 in here, meaning 8, the width should be 8, and then the height should be 5. So because I'm dealing with a circle, right? All I need to do is I would ensure my shape is a square. And it doesn't mean it will not run if it's not a square. But I just want the circle to be proportionate. So I'll say plt.figure, okay? And now I can say fig size equals 8 by 8. So let's use 8 by 8, right? Let's use 8 by 8. Okay, plt.figure, fig size equals 8 by 8. So that's the area we want to put our pie chart. Now, but how should the pie chart look like? Say plt.pie, and I open a bracket, and I start to tell Python, okay, I want the chart to be this, I want the chart to be like that. So first things first, okay, how do I want each area to be? How big do I want each slice of my pie chart to be like? We said pie charts, looks like a lot of pizza, pizza slices combined together. So each slice, how do I want it to be? Now, because I've already counted my age group as age group count, I would say age group counts. Okay, age group counts. All right, let's ensure we are on the same page. Age group counts dot values. Age group count dot values. Age group count dot values. So that's how big, just like we described how tall we wanted our bars to be, is the exact same way. So you can see the concept is very similar. And then again, just like the bars, we said, oh, we want to label each of the each of the bars. Yes, we want to label the slices as well. So say labels equals age group index. So what Python is going to do, age group counts, okay, age group counts dot index. So what Python would do is, Python is going to go into the age group column, okay, and it's going to look at the different age groups that we have, okay, and is going to use that to name each of the slices based on the count, So it's not going to put teenager for elder slice or any other age group, okay, and that's why this is good. So now another thing we want to do, all right, another thing we want to do is we want to see the percentage. We want to see the percentage, right? We want to see the percentage in the slices. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Now we'd say auto PCT, auto PCT. So this automatically generates the percentage depending on the slices, depending on the sizes of the slices, right? So auto PCT means, or to auto generate the percentages, PCT for percentage, right? Auto PCT equals, then I'll introduce two percentages beside each other. Then in between the two percentages, I'll now type in how I want, my value to look like. All right, exactly how I want my value, the form which I want my value to look like. I'll type it in. All right. Now, auto PCT, I said I'll type in two percentages. All right, two percentages, and I'm typing this in my quotes. I'm typing it inside my quotes. So I'll type in two percentages, then I bring the cursor to the middle. So I want to have a whole number and let's say two decimal place, for example. And then you'd see I could change it to even no decimal place or three decimal place, and you'd see how that plays out. So, but for now, let's start with two decimal place. Okay. So I'll say I want a whole number. I'll type one dot. How many decimal place do I want? I want two. So 1.2. Okay. I type in F, and then percent. So the figure should be, the digits should be a whole number and two decimal places, then percentage, right? Then percentage. So, and we'll come back to this. We'll play around with it, and you see how that plays out. So the next thing I need to do is to determine how do I want the pie chart to be oriented, right? The orientation of the pie chart. So to do that, I'll determine my start angle, and I can start it at any angle. I can start from 0 all the way to 360. So it's 360. Remember, somebody said the pie chart is 360 degree, and that's a circle, right? So, but where do I want it to start from? So I would say let's start from 90, and I'll come and change it also by the time I show the charts. Then you'd see how this plays out. All right. So I'll change it to other degrees by the time we do that. Okay. So the F stands for the F. Would add our this percentage we added inside. So after determining the percentage, it's going to add the percentage sign to it. All right. So it's just the format of the percentage, okay, for those who are asking. So now, comma, and then another interesting part, which is the colors, okay, colors. So my colors equal to, all right, so I'll determine my colors, okay. So, and I can use colors, within, that are allowed within Python, okay. Your green, blue, red, these are colors. Okay, but I want to use, some nice colors. So I'll say salmon. Okay, I'll use my salmon. I would also use my sky blue. Let me use a sky blue. Okay, I'll use a sky blue. Let's use a light green. I'll use a light green. Okay, and then I could use a blue, all right, or I could use any color. So depending on your knowledge of colors. Okay, so let me use a color called pitch buff. So we'll see how the color looks like. Okay, you see how the color looks like. So these are the these are the colors I would love to use. Okay, these are the colors I would love to use. All right. So yes, I've not showed the chart, and that's the reason why you can't see the chart yet. And guess what, guys? Guess what? We'll just give our chart a title, and then we would show the charts. That's all. Okay, that is all. So I can see somebody saying your charts are not showing. Don't worry, you'll see the charts now. So again, to add a title, I'll just say PLT dot title, just like the way I did it in the bar chart, PLT dot title, and I tell Python, call it age, just call it age group, right? Age group analysis, however you want to call it, age group analysis. Okay. And then finally, guys, PLT dot show. PLT dot show. PLT dot show. Right? PLT dot show. Right? PLT dot show. And you run. So when you run, you have this fantastic pie charts. Have this fantastic pie chart. So I see people asking, how do you know when to use a square bracket? How do you know when to use a round bracket? Now, those are concepts, not in today's class, all right? But again, today's class is focused on understanding the concepts behind the code. Now, you notice anytime I want to call out a column, I'll use a square bracket. Anytime I want to call out a column, I'll use a square bracket. Notice it here, notice age group here, and notice here also gender. So I use the square bracket. So, and that's how, that's one place that you need square brackets for. But no, you don't need to bother yourself about, square brackets, round brackets. We all thought, we are professionals in the field. We thought that was how it was when we were learning also. And that caused us, to dislike Python a whole lot, right? But when you focus on what matters, you'd see that learning Python is very easy. So now, guys, what do we notice about the slices of the pie chart? What can we say about each age group? What can we say about each of the age groups in the charts? What can we say? Do you notice anything about the customers? Anything interesting about the customers? You can see straight away, guys, middle age has more, exactly. So it means many of the customers are middle-aged, all right? And you see exactly, that was Andy. Andy says teenagers have the least. So, but you know that from this chart, you can say, okay, somebody says young customers, fantastic. Teenagers are the lowest and middle age are the highest, fantastic. Adulthood is dealing with middle age. So I'm not sure. I think that's Yanis. Yanis says adulthood is dealing with middle age. I'm not sure what that means. They are patronizing this particular organization. Okay. So most of the customers are actually spending money as far as this data set is telling us. All right. So see elders, see youth. All right. So probably we have the youth, most of them not employed. That's just a guess, all right? But that's the visualization in there. Now, if I come and say I turn 2 here to 0 and I run it, you notice that the decimal places disappear. Okay, they disappear. All right, decimal places disappear. Okay, and if I come to start angle and I say, let's say 40, and I run it, do we notice what happened to the chart, guys? Do you notice what happened to the chart, guys? So do you notice what happened to the chart? when I change it from 90 to 40, start angle. Anyone? Okay, let me repeat. So this was 90. So I want you to have a good look. This was 90, just like this before. So this was 90. Start angle was 90, and this was how the charts looked like. Okay, this was how the charts looked like. So take a good look at it once again. So I'll change 90 to 40, or to let's say 10. All right, let's say 10. So let's run this. Look at what we have. So exactly, so the position of the slices changed. So that's how to change. So you can leverage these tools, these things within Python, to customize your charts. Okay, to customize your chart. So this allows you to customize your charts. Okay, it allows you to customize your charts. So now, I'll take us to one other interesting chart that you can visualize. And this particular chart, all right, this particular chart, we can use it to compare two things at the same time within our data set, and that's called a scatter chart or a scatter plot, however you want to call it. Now, a scatter plot. How many of us know what a scatter plot is? I'm sure we may not know what a scatter plot looks like. So if you know, okay, some of us know what a scatter plot is. So now a scatter plot is like you putting all the customers in a room. You put all the customers in a room and you have an overhead view of all the customers. So you can see the heads of each customers from the top. That's what a scatter plot is. So let's quickly create a scatter plot, right? And I'll show you, some exciting visuals that you can also create with some other data sets, okay? And, we'll start to talk more about how you can get started as a data scientist, okay? So now, let's start to create our scatter plot. Now, again, would say let's prepare. All right, so let's prepare or let's describe the scatter. So again, I said the scatter plot is like you putting all the customers in a room. You pack all of them, put in a room. All right, you put all of them in a room, and you want to have an overhead view, okay, of how they look like within that room. All right. So what we'll do is plt.figure. Again, you can see plt.figure keeps recurring. All right. And then we say feed size equals, you could determine the size. You could do 10 by 5. You could do 10 by 10, depending on how you want your visualization to look like. I would use 10 by 6, right? 10 by 6, 10 by 6. And I go to the next line and I begin plt.scatter. plt.scatter. So this tells Python that I'm about to build a scatter plot. Remember, we said plt.bar for the bar chart. We said plt.py for the pie chart. So for a scatter chart, we say plt.scatter. So for scatter plot, we need two variables, right? We need two numerical variables. Okay, we could either compare age and annual income. We could either compare annual income and spending score. Now, and how does this play out? So let's assume I want to compare annual income to spending score. So by the time I put annual income on one axis and I put spending score on the other axis, I'm able to see where each customer stands based on their annual income and their spending score. I'm able to see where each customer stands in the room based on their annual income and their spending score. And that's exactly what we want to do. That's exactly what we want to do. Okay. So we'll say the F. Again, the F is for my data, right? That's the name of my data. And I introduce a square bracket again for those who are asking, oh, how do I know where when to use a square bracket. So one of the places you use a square bracket is when you're trying to call out the column name, right, within a data set. And you'll be surprised, it's almost the same concept in Excel, right? If you've ever used structured referencing in Excel, you would have seen that. Okay. Now, I would call out my annual income. Okay, I can simply come here, copy, right? But I'll just type it in because I know how it looks like. Okay, annual income. Okay, annual income. All right, so annual income is the first column that I want to compare, right? Comma. Okay, and I can see somebody following me. That's Benjamin. Fantastic. Okay, I like the way you're exploring. That's very good. Okay, so now I've called out the first column, which is my annual income. Let's call out the second column. DF, open a square bracket again, then spending score. Spending score. Okay, spending score, just the way it is in my data set. So start with capital letter, it's underscore, and then score, also starting with capital letter. So spending score. So that's my second column. All right, that's my second column. Now, I'll say C equals purple, and C stands for color. So you could type in green, you can type in any other color of your choice, just the way Benjamin is trying to explore. Type in the color of your choice. All right. So I'll use purple. All right. And then one cool thing I want to show you is you can even determine how transparent or how opaque each of the dots on your chart will look like. So to do that, I'll say alpha equals, so, and you give it a value between 0 and 1. So 0 to be transparent, totally transparent, and 1 totally opaque. All right, so I want somewhere in the middle. So I'll say 0.5. Okay, and I want the dot to be like letter O. I want the dot to be like letter O. All I need to do is to say a marker. They are called markers, right? The marker equals O in quotes, in inverted comma, right? And then finally, I say my edge colors, right? My edge colors equals K. My edge colors equals K. Now, anytime you use edge color, right? Anytime you use edge color, the formats are different, okay? So K is for black, B for blue, and so on and so forth, right? So we'll just use K, keep it at black, okay? Keep it at black, all right? We'll keep it at black. So again, let's give our titles, just like we did for our bar chart, our X label, our Y label, then the main title, and then plt.show. That's all we have to do next, all right? So let's do that together. So for our X label, so plt.x label, all right? So for our X, let's call it annual income. Okay, so that's the name we want to give our X axis. So for my Y axis, I'll give it spending score. Okay, spending score. Okay, and then the main title, guys, plt dot title, right? And I say relationship. I'll just say relationship. I can say relationship between annual income and spending score. So again, that's what your scatter plot is for. Okay, and when you see it, you'd see how it looks like. All right, you'd see how
Please
it.
check the spelling of title. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. I already saw it in the chat. So we can also use the chat, okay? Because I'm keeping tabs in the chat. So thank you for that. All right. So yeah, thank you for that. I misspelled title. Now, plt.show. And now when I run this guys, what do we notice? What do we notice? So this is the room, and each dot is a customer. So what do we notice about the customers? Is there anything we can say about the customers? Is there anything we can say? Oh, look at my title, double S, and that's because I have a double S in here. Okay, for my title, so I'll just run that again, correct it and run it. Okay, so I have it this way. So anybody in the chat, anything we notice about, okay, the cluster is between 40 and 60. Okay, 40 and 60. Okay, yeah, you can see that was Saluton. Okay, Uche. Uche says you have customers clustered around 40 and 60 according to spending score. So when you look at the spending score, you see many people are here together. All right, you see many people here together. So what other thing do you notice? What other thing do you notice? And I know if I say I would give, let's say $20 to the person that gets the answer. Okay, if somebody may see the answer, but I want to see who has an eagle eye. What do you notice? What is there anything strange about the chart that you notice? The annual income range mostly from 50K to 120K. So let's look at it from 50K to 120K. Fantastic. That's a good insight, right? So any other thing? I want somebody to point out something not normal. The single dot that is alone. That's Mesoma. Mesoma, fantastic. So the single dot that is alone. And somebody saying outliers, fantastic. Now, this single dot, who is that person? Whoever this person is, the person has a very high spending score, and the person earns a pretty high, annual income. Now, if I may ask, how many of us on this call would like to be the black sheep? This black sheep. How many of us would like to be this black sheep? Among these customers. How many of us would like to be this black sheep among the customers? Which says me. All right, which says me. Abel says I. Ugi says me. Fantastic. Exactly. You want to have a strong spending score as well as a high monthly income. $250,000 is a very high annual income. Okay, so in what currency? Oh, dollars, obviously. Dollars, exactly. So Moses is being skeptical. So we're talking about dollars here, right? So yeah. So that is a scatter plot in there. That's a scatter plot. Okay. So I have a lot more charts I would have loved us to create together. Okay. A box plot, as well as a histogram. Right. So but what this chart tells you is it gives you insight into what your customers look like. Okay, so from this scatter plot alone, if you look very closely, you see some spaces. There are spaces here, there are spaces here. No customer is in this place, no customer is here. So you have around 5 different groups. If you look, you have a group that have a high spending score, but they earn very low. Can you see this group? They have a high spending score. This group here, they have a very high spending score, but they spend low. I mean, they earn low, rather. Can we all see that group? Can we see this group? Can we see this group here? Can we see this group here? Fantastic. So we also have some customers that also have low annual income, but their spending score is also low. We have that group of customer here. We also have the group of customers that earn relatively high, spending score. They have a very relatively high spending score, but their annual income is around 100,000 to 120,000, like somebody mentioned earlier on the call. Then you also have customers who don't have a high spending score, even if they have, high annual income. Okay. And then you have this one customer who all of us wants to be. We want to be this customer. okay, spends a lot, all right, spends a lot and then ends, high as well. Okay, so you can see the level of insight by visualizing data. You can extract more insight. I would have loved to show you how we can create the remaining charts, but you get all the materials. Okay, yeah, the histogram. You saw the scatter plots. Then would have created this together. Okay, but we're trying to make the best use of the time. Okay, you get the materials, right, and you see how to do that. Okay, but I'll just show you some more interesting charts that you can use. Okay, in Python, that you can create in Python. Okay, you can create even more interesting charts in Python. Okay, let's say you're working with geographic data, for example. Okay, you're working with geographic data and you need to visualize in form of maps. How do you do that in Python? Is it possible? Is it even possible? Is it even possible that you visualize data? Okay, visualize maps in Python. Do you think it's possible, guys? Do you think it's possible? So this is just something that I'll show you. Yes, it's very possible. Okay, so this is what you can do with Python. Okay, this is visualizing missing data. I'll just quickly show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Guys, within Python, you can show a map. You can show a map, and this is what you start to learn. How do you do that? Okay, you leverage libraries like GeoPandas. All right, we have libraries which you use to do this, and you can see the lines of code. Just about the same line, the same number of lines of code we've been working with. Not much, all right? Not much lines of code. You can see this particular line of code to get this chart. You can see this talking about population of people. So let me zoom out a bit so we can all see. All right, so this is talking about the population of people, living below poverty line, all right, in millions. And you can see Nigeria is on the high end. Okay, this tells you that, you have more people in Nigeria living below the poverty line. Okay, so what you can do with Python visualization is endless, and this is what you'll be learning. All right, so and I'll start to talk more about the programs now. All right, and you now see, okay, even if it looks complex to you, why does Mohammed keep saying it's easy? Why does Mohammed keep saying, oh, it's easy to generate insights, to visualize data using Python, right? Why does Mohammed says it's easy? So join me and let's talk about it. Now, what we've been doing is one of the type of analytics that you would do as a data scientist. Okay, so as a data scientist, you'd go through your data to see what exactly your data is saying, and then you take a step further to do what we call the diagnostic analytics. So what we've been doing since is just the descriptive analytics, all right? Describing what the data says. Oh, how many of our customers are male? How many are female? How many of them, have a high spending score? And we can see all of them at a glance using specific types of charts, right? With few lines of codes as well. So you also take a step further to do what we call the diagnostic analytics, right? Okay, since we've seen that, some of our customers, are within a certain group. So why do they fall in that group? Is there a reason why, that is the case? That's what we call diagnostic analytics. And then as a data scientist, your primary function is to predict. So based on all that data, how can you project into the future? Which is, okay, which customers are likely to leave us soon? Which customers are we likely to easily retain? So this is what you do as a data scientist. So again, the descriptive analytics covers what happened in the data, all right? What actually happened? What's the data saying? So we summarize the data just like we did together. Then you take a step further, how did that happen? Why did it happen? Okay, so you answer these questions as well. And then your primary function as a data scientist is predictive analytics. So based on all that information, right, you take a step further to look at what may likely happen based on that information. Okay, so you can see data analyst covers this area. Okay, and as a data scientist, you cover all the areas, especially the predictive part of analytics. All right. So as a data scientist, how do if you want to become a data scientist, okay, how do you get started? So how many of us, I'll still talk more, I'll give you more information concerning our programs. But if I ask you, do you think you want to become a data scientist, guys? Do you want to become a data scientist? You want to be able to, leverage the power of Python. Okay. Okay, I can see Femi says yes, yes, boss. So a good number of us want to become data scientists. So, but how? How do you? Okay, how do you become a data scientist? Now, for our full stack data science, for our full stack data scientist track, okay, we'll cover these key areas. And again, as a data scientist, again, your primary focus is on predictive analytics. So after you've gathered information from the data and you've done your prediction, you take a step to prescribe, offer so and so, promo to so and so customers, specific promos to customers. So you can target customers based on your analysis, and you can give data-driven decisions, okay, data-driven insights to stakeholders within the organization, and that will drive revenue. Okay, so what do you need to learn to become a data scientist? Now, you need to know statistics. You need to know statistics. Statistics is very important. But again, not the statistics you are being taught in school. Right? Not statistics you are being taught in school, the abstract statistics, okay, highly complex, models. No, that's not what you need to become a data scientist. What you need is to have, practical examples of what things like mean, median, mode, as simple as mean median mode is, it is highly relevant when it comes to data science. Okay, when it comes to data science, all right. So you'd start with statistics, all right. You start with statistics, and you'd see how you'd use Excel in statistics, all right. Excel for statistics. Many of us, are limited to using Excel, for our mundane tables and charts. But how do you use Excel to perform statistics? You learn that in here. Okay. Now you also learn how to do forecasting and predictive analytics using Microsoft Excel. Can you do a lot of predictions using several techniques like the moving average, several techniques. And what you'll be working with is an actual industry business problem. In class, you have a professional like myself, some of the facilitators that you'd see later, right? Walk you through step by step of how to start from scratch and solve that actual problem. So what you are gaining in class is an actual work experience, right? So you also learn Tableau for analytics, right? Tableau for analytics, covering predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, as well as descriptive analytics, right? You learn Tableau, right? You also learn Tableau is a visualization tool, right? Tableau is a visualization tool, helps you visualize your data as well. Now, you'd also learn SQL. To become a data scientist, you must understand SQL. Now, SQL is a query language, okay? It's a language, not a programming language, but a query language to extract data from a data source. So just like your water tank, right? You have a storage system for data. You have a similar storage system for data. Now, to extract data from that data source, you need to understand SQL so that you can, extract data from the data source. You also learn Python programming, and you've seen a snippet of what Python can do. Okay, you learn Python programming, and under Python programming, you learn exploratory data analysis, covering your descriptive analytics. Okay, you also learn machine learning. All right, you also learn machine learning. Machine learning is, designing something like a robot, all right? Like a robot that can perform certain tasks by itself without you explicitly giving it instruction. So you learn how to create machine learning models to make your predictions, all right? You also learn computer vision, okay? Computer vision, and all this, you learn it from scratch, absolute scratch, all right? You learn it from scratch, okay? Now, and this is because you have professionals who have walked the same path that you are trying to hop on. Okay, and we've seen the challenges, that newbies encounter when trying to learn Python, when trying to learn, certain modules. All right, and we designed the program in such a way that you are able to follow through. Okay, right from concept to that endpoint. Now you also be learning Microsoft Fabric as well as Chat GPT. Now, how many of us have heard of Chat GPT? Chat GPT. Chat GPT. If you've heard of Chat GPT, okay, fantastic. Now, Chat GPT, a lot of us, okay, I use it, I have heard of it. Fantastic. Now, Chat GPT, how do you use Chat GPT as a data scientist? In the past, just like your basic arithmetic, your basic arithmetic, okay? In the past, you have very smart people try to, perform calculations like, let's say, 100 times 20. From the top of their head, they can give you the answer 100 times 20. Even more complex calculations like 365 times 15. We have some people who can do that from the top of their head. But it's not necessary to do that any longer because you now have a calculator. So I can punch whatever I need on my calculator or my phone and I get the answer. Now, that is what ChatGPT is like to a data scientist. So after understanding all the key concepts of data science and writing codes, how do you extract the Python codes from ChatGPT so that you can spend more time, observing the charts and extracting insights rather than writing codes? Just like I mentioned at the beginning of the program, you are a data scientist, you are not a coder. You are not a coder. And that's the reason why you should not be scared of Python. So what you need to understand is what are the concepts behind these codes, right? And the basics. And what you need to do is you also need to understand how to leverage ChatGPT. Okay, so a lot of people say, oh, the coming of ChatGPT is going to replace data scientists, going to replace data analysts, but that is not the case. The one who ChatGPT will replace or AI will replace is the one who does not leverage the power of these tools. Right? So how do you ask ChatGPT the right questions so that it gives you the exact thing you need from your data? All right. So, and you can see the average salaries. In the UK, for a data scientist earns about 50,000 pounds, okay, on an annual basis. Average, not the highest, guys. Average. In Canada, if you're in Canada, you are open to, as a data scientist, you are open to 94,000 Canadian dollars if you are in Canada. For those of us in the US, straight up, straight off the bat, you have 6-figure annual salaries. A lot of us are talking about that single outlier, okay, that was earning about $250,000 annually, okay. Now, becoming a data scientist, okay, brings you closer to becoming that outlier in the data. So you stand out among your peers, right? So, and it's a 4-month learning program, all right? So for 4 months, you'd learn the models I mentioned earlier, okay? So for 3 months, you'd have your live classes just like what we had now. Okay, you have your facilitator, okay, who is an industry expert. Come to the call just like myself, just like you are on this call, right? And we'll walk you through step by step from scratch through each of these modules, okay, on how you should become a data scientist and how you leverage these tools, starting from Excel, you move on to SQL, and then you start to learn the Python basics, okay, and then you start to apply them. Then you see how you can use ChatGPT to accelerate your deliverables as a data scientist. Okay, so you'd have that for 3 months. So after your live classes, you'd have your capstone project. Okay, so your live classes, cut across real life problems, real world problems. Okay, giving you that experience of what it's like, as a data scientist, right? So you do that for the next 3 months, okay, and you have your capstone project. Now, your capstone project is to test what you've learned so far, right? So you test yourself, you get tested on what you've learned so far, you get to build things, around industry problems, and that adds to your toolkit, okay? Now, we have the classes hold in 2 time zones, okay? So we have for those of us in the UK, right, we have classes, um, you know, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, right? We have classes 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time. And for those of us in Canada, in the US, in America, we hold our classes on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Toronto, Canadian time. Then on Sundays, you have what we call your self-paced watch me do it video, right? You have your self-paced watch me do it videos, right? And these are videos that prep you before the class, right? So your self-paced watch me do it video is to prepare you before the class, all right? So you come into the class having some, basic knowledge, is for some key concepts, across some key concepts, and then you start to apply them in class to solve an actual business problem. Okay, so on Sundays you get these videos, and then these videos you have lifetime access to these videos, such that you can always go back to them. And your classes are also recorded. Your classes are also recorded, and you can always go back to them because you have a lifetime access, even when you must have completed the program. Okay, and then you have your 1 month growth internship. You have your 1 month growth internship after you must have completed your capstone project, right? And it is geared towards, letting you, come across as a top talent in the market once you're done with the internship, right? You get to work on industry problems as well. You have an industry expert who would come to give you feedback, during the internship. Okay, now all this is just half of what you need to becoming a data scientist. So that's the technical part. Okay, you've learned Python, you've learned Excel, you've learned statistics and all that. But you still need to gain some additional insight into how to actually land a job. And because of this, we've added some additional modules. And this is absolutely at no extra cost. Okay. You have your CV review sessions. A lot of us don't understand that your CV, your CV is the paper representation of yourself. So you're trying to get a job, especially in the world of tech. How should your CV look like? You have sessions where an industry expert in-house, tells you exactly how your CV should look like, right? And reviews your CV, all right? You also have LinkedIn optimization. Now, LinkedIn, you have to have a LinkedIn profile, okay, that serves as your social proof. Okay, you said you've learned, you've learned, you've learned data science, right? You know stuff. Can we see what you've actually done? Recruiters like to see what recruiters like to see what you've done. So you have a social proof. So how do you design and optimize your LinkedIn profile to attract potential recruiters? We'll walk you through step by step on how to do that. Okay, in the program. You also have what we call Upwork optimization. Your Upwork optimization, right? Your Upwork optimization. Now, Upwork is a platform where you can get remote jobs. So let's say you're in Nigeria, for example. You can work remotely for organizations in the US, in the UK, in the Middle East by getting, jobs on Upwork. So, what just like LinkedIn, how do you optimize your profile so that you come across very attractively to potential recruiters, right? So you'll be taken through that session as well, right? How do you navigate the job market? For example, some of us are in the UK, some of us are in Canada. If you're in Canada, what are the specifics to this particular area? What are the specifics to these particular areas? Okay, where you are located, where you reside, as far as looking for a job is concerned. So we have experienced people in-house, all right, that have walked through this process, and they would hold your hand and walk you through step by step on navigating the job market, whether you're in the US, you're in the UK, or you're in the Middle East, or you're in Asia, or in Europe, all right? Then we offer recommendation and reference letters, and this has been a key driver in in landing many of our participant jobs. And you see me talking about many of our participants, shortly, right? Recommendation letters. You need someone to, stand, to vouch for you that, oh, so and so has actually done this. We've worked with so and so. Right? Very compelling recommendation letters. And this has, like I said, has been a very key driver in landing many of our participants their first tech jobs. Right? You also have job and interview prep. And I'll talk more on this when I get to the testimonials. And it's very exciting, right? Just a couple of days ago, two of the participants that I personally prepared for an interview, okay, got jobs, okay, in the NHS. Many of us know the NHS in the UK. Two of our participants, one a current participant, and the other was one of our former participants. So even if you've left the program, you still get access to your facilitators. Or you've completed the program, thereafter you got called for an interview. We help you prepare for these interviews, okay? And you'd see that later on in this session. So you have weekly mentorship sessions. Again, we understand how difficult it may be, trying to be disciplined when you're trying to learn new stuff, right? So you'd get weekly mentorship sessions to boost your morale, okay? And to also give you reasons why you need to be consistent, when you're trying to hop into the field of tech. And one very juicy opportunity you have, which, other programs won't offer this, is on-the-job support. So you've gotten a job, you successfully gone through our program, and you've gotten a job, okay? Well, you see a task, that you don't, really understand how you should go about it, all right? You get access to your facilitators, our team members, and we hold your hand and still walk you through many of these scenarios. Okay, so these are the parts that are very essential in you landing the job, and you also get exposed to freelancing and working remotely, just like I mentioned when I mentioned Upwork. Okay, and I see your questions. I'll answer many of your questions in a moment. Okay, very shortly I'll answer I'll start to take many of your questions. All right. Now, imagine you're in Nigeria. Okay, imagine you're in Nigeria, right? For example, and you're earning in dollars. You're spending in dollars. What do you think your spending score will be like based on, the scatter plot? Where do you think you'll be in that scatter plot we did today? Where do you think you'll be? You're in Nigeria, okay, and you're earning in dollars, you're spending in dollars. Where do you think you would be in that scatter plot? I want to see your answer in the chat. What do you think you'd be in that particular scatter plot we did, okay, earlier today? You'll be the black sheep, exactly. You'll be the one who is the higher spender and the high earner. And that's the goal. That's one of the main goals of, you learning data science or data analytics or whatever tech, stack, we offer here at Analytics. So that's, one of the chances you stand. Okay, we'll also walk you through how, you can get remote jobs on these top sites, for remote jobs. Okay, and the growth internship, again, it's a free 1 month internship, and the essence is for you to make your CV stand out. Your CV will be packed with real world experiences. So when a recruiter is asking you, oh, tell us about a time when you use Python to solve a customer segmentation problem, or to identify anomalies within your customers, or to predict which customers are likely to leave and which are likely to stay, right? You have you have tons and tons of projects you've worked on, okay, and that stands as real world experience for you. And you can tell a story around, oh, there was this problem, of customers leaving a particular organization where I, worked as a data scientist, all right? And, what I needed to do was to use my Python skills, to try to understand why that is happening. Okay, what I did was to use so and so libraries. You begin to mention those juicy libraries with Python, and then you go on to say, oh, you finally solved the problem because you identify that there were some customers that, although they have high spending score, they are earning very low, right? They earn very low. Okay, you also have some, who earn high, but they have low spending score. And you want to see how you can encourage those set of customers to spend more to drive your own revenue. So you work on several projects in your 1 month internship. You have, an industry expert also, give you feedback, as regards your project. And some of the facilitators, right? Adeza, we all saw Adeza earlier in today's session. Okay, Efemela also, is one of your facilitator. You have Brima. Brima, a fantastic professional in the field, about 5 years of industry experience, walk you through, step by step, in how to become a data scientist. You also have Toma, right? Senior data associate at analytics also, right, with about a decade of experience. She'll hold your hand and walk you through step by step in learning to become a data scientist. You have myself, you met me already, all right? You have Tony, okay? So I'll be a bit speedy in this section of today's session. Okay, you'd get these materials, and I want you to sit back and go through the details and see what kinds of organizations your facilitators have worked in. Right, you have Oladapo Siambola, works for one of the big fours, okay, and has trained close to 2,000 participants also. All right, you have Abdurrahman Yaniwura, okay, based in the UK, works for the Big Four, okay, develops data AI-driven solutions for organizations. You have Olugbemi, a fantastic professional, okay, highly skilled with Power BI, Excel, Tableau, SQL, and hold your hand and walk you through your journey. You also have Obina. Obina is a fantastic professional, okay? And these are professionals that their day-to-day, is what you are trying to achieve. Their day-to-day activities is how they apply data science is solving real-world problems, right? And they walk you through this step by step. We also have Ibrahim, a machine learning engineer based in the UK, right? So how do you now join? I see many of us asking, okay, Mohammed, you talk about this cool stuff, okay, of how we can become a data scientist within 4 months, right? And that's because, like you have already seen, is a highly structured program, okay, packed specifically for absolute beginners. Okay, so how do you join our next cohort starting on the 7th of October? Now, to join our cohort, the price is £400 if you're paying in pounds, or 320 naira if you're paying in naira. Okay, but we have a discount currently running. We have a cool discount that you can take advantage of that is currently running. All right, and it's not for everybody. All right, it's not for everybody. It's for the first few people who can take advantage of it. Right, it's not an endless discount. Okay, so I encourage you to take full advantage of the discount while it runs. So instead of £400, you pay £300, and it's also interesting to note that you can pay in 2 installments: £200 to register, and then £100 1 month after the training program commences. Okay, if you're paying in naira, instead of paying 320,000 naira, you pay 270,000 naira, right? And you can pay in 2 installments as well: 180,000 naira to register for the program, and 90,000 naira 1 month after the program commences. If you're paying in dollars, okay, instead of paying about $500 thereabout, you pay $400, $300 US to register, and $100 1 month after the training program commences. And you see my colleague already in the chat posting the details of payment. I also projected that on my screenshot. So if you're in Canada and you're seeking to pay, instead of paying about 600, 700 Canadian dollars, you pay 500 Canadian dollars, 350 Canadian dollars to register, and 150 Canadian dollars to 1 month after the program commences. So FA is asking, drop the account details for the Nigerian bank. And you can see Brima has already put in the details to pay into Tenalytics account. Okay, so you make the first payment for you to register. So this first payment are for you to register and be in the program. All right, then 1 month after the program commences, you can balance up, with the remaining part of the program. Okay, so leverage the discount, also leverage the instrumental payments, that is available. All right. So, and you can pay if you're paying, from anywhere across the globe. You can pay using PayPal. Okay, by clicking this link, you'd get this slide, and the link is also available in the charts. All right, for you to click on and make payments. So you can see my colleague in the chat also making these links available. All right, so for full payments, you access this link. For part payments, you have the link as well. Okay, so when you click on the link provided in the chat, you'd see the channels to make these payments. So somebody's asking, do you also have programs for data engineering? Yes. Earlier in the session, I talked about the tool stack that we offer here at Tenalytics, ranging from data analytics to data science to data engineering to financial analytics to HR analytics, and also for this particular program, we're talking about the data science program. Okay, and I'll still answer questions. Okay, do we have program for data analysis in this cohort? You have the data analytics program also, right? The same price goes for the same price as this as well, right? So when you click on that link, you also see the brochure. So you can check through all the brochures of each of our programs. Okay, so go to the chat as we speak. You'd see the link posted by Brima, one of my colleagues. You saw Brima earlier, right? And you'd see more information concerning that, and you can see the bank information also in here, right? So you'd get these slides, and if you want to make payments now, the links are available in the chat. Okay, so if you're in Nigeria and you want to pay in Naira using your card, you can pay through Paystack. You can pay through Paystack, okay, using your card, using this link. Again, it's available in the chat. Okay, Brima has provided it in the chat. You can go ahead and take advantage of the discounts currently running. Again, it's not going to run forever. Okay, it's not going to run forever. So take advantage of the discounts, take advantage of the instrumental payments, and get into one of the programs. Okay, so yeah. Again, this is the link being provided in the chat. Okay, once you click on the link, you see all the channels through which you can make payments, including the bank information. Okay, now some of the cool projects you'll be working with. All right, so you're wondering, okay, I'm talking about real life, real world projects. So I'll just give you a snippet of some of the projects you'll be working with during the program. So you'll be working on Castro Technologies. So the problem this particular organization has is you have employees leaving. Employees are leaving the, employees are leaving the organization. And you as a data scientist, you're trying to predict who is likely to leave. Is it the male counterpart that's likely to leave or the female, right? And one of the strategies this particular organization is trying to implement is creating a world-class gym, right? To keep these employees within the organization, especially their high flyers. So you are coming in as a data scientist to support and to facilitate this proposed strategy, using data, right? So that's your main function. You'll be working on a project, the Nestle product analysis. So based on the performance of certain products within this organization, you make predictions into what's likely going to happen, right? In the near future. You're also working on an online food delivery case study, and these are actual business problems codified to hide the actual organization, and then you'd work on these particular case studies. You also work on more, and you can go through them, when you get the slides. So, for example, you have fraudulent transactions. So you work in an organization, a bank, for example. How do you leverage machine learning, Python, as a data scientist to predict what transaction is likely a fraudulent transaction and block that particular transaction, okay, before they even happen? So it's a way of trying to predict what transactions are fraudulent, and then you stop it even before they happen. Okay. Again, very similar to the initial, case study. You're trying to look at who is leaving, who is likely going to leave the organization. So, and you have a whole new facet in this data set, and you would be solving that particular problem. You also be taking an analysis on data science salaries. So, you have salaries of people who are working as a data scientist, and you want to gain insights into some key metrics as far as their salaries are concerned. Okay. And there are tons of projects you work on, while you're in the program and during your internship, as well as your capstone project that caps, the end of your learning journey with us at Tenalytics. And you can see the projects, reward projects, and you'll be able to go through that in the slides when you get them. Okay, now I talked about helping people get jobs. That was one thing I talked about. And I also spoke about the job interviews, okay, and how myself and some of our team members have been able to, help participants prepare for interviews. Today alone, I had two interview prep sessions with some of our participants, okay, giving them insights into how they should prepare, how they should position, how they should position themselves, in front of the recruiter, how they should even speak, okay, right from how you should answer a question to how you should speak, how you should come across, how to stay confident when you're speaking to a potential recruiter, right? And some of our participants who have gone through our training program and finally landed a job, we've also put them in the slide. You can go through, some of them to see. So you can see, it said, "Good evening and happy Sunday. I got a contract offer yesterday. I got a contract offer yesterday." And this is Sunday. Got a full-time job as a regulatory data analyst in the UK after registering for our data science program. And this is one thing I mentioned. Even as a data scientist, you can apply to a spectrum of jobs, increasing your chances of getting that first tech role. So you can apply to data analyst roles, you can apply to data scientist roles. How do you do that? We'll walk you through step by step. Okay. Now, we also have Ubong. Ubong got numerous job interviews, okay, and offers before finally, going with his full-time role as a data scientist with Cognizant in the UK. All right. And you can see Nate now. Nate was one of the participants, okay, had prepared for an interview. Okay. Nathaniel, his name is Obafemi Nathaniel, right? Nickname Nate. So I prepared Nate for this particular. I call him Nate because I'm used to his nickname. All right. So he said after the prep session, you can see Nate sent in some messages. He said, "I got the job, man. Got a confirmation now. Thank you so much for your help." All right. Thank you so much for your help. And one key thing to note here is, Nate mentioned, "I used the method you taught me," and they were like, "Wow." And you can see this emoji in there. telling you what went down. Okay, so again, this is one of the things that you get, one of the opportunities you get by registering with any of our programs. So you get access to facilitators, myself, Adeza, Femena, Brima, who is currently on the call. Okay, you get access to these facilitators, and we help you prepare for the job interview. Okay, and you can see me telling him, please send them a follow-up email, thanking them for the opportunity to interview with them and reiterating your interest, for their organization. Okay, so this was just immediately after the interview. So he used the method I taught him, and they were like, wow. And they finally gave him the job. Okay, so that's Nathaniel. Go through the details. And it's important to note that Nathaniel got the job as a data scientist with Boehringer Ingelheim, not one of, the largest. Boehringer Ingelheim is the largest private pharmaceutical firm on the globe. So he got a job with their branch in Spain, okay, with about 1,500 employees on ground. So we have many participants like that. This Ebube got a job with the NHS in the UK as a data scientist after registering for our full stack data science program. You also have Benga. Benga was personally prepared by Adeza. Adeza prepared Benga for an interview. And one interesting thing about Benga is Benga got the job. Okay, I reached out to Adeza and said, I really want to say I appreciate this opportunity you gave me. And Adeza said, the pleasure is all mine. Congratulations for taking the leap and joining Tenalytics. All right. So it's not actually giving him the opportunity, all right? But he took the decision, he made the decision by joining Tenalytics, all right? And it's also interesting to note that he got 3 more offers. So after getting this job, after getting this offer, he got 3 additional offers, okay? And you can imagine which of the offers Benga would have gone for. All right. So we also have Steven got a job as a junior data analyst in the UK after registering for one of our programs. You have Whistling got a job with Shell in the UK, right, as a sales analyst after registering for one of our programs. Okay. We have Emeka, right, currently works with the Western Union as a digital analyst. We have Idris Adebisi, works as a data engineer after registering for our full stack data science and data engineering program, here at Tenalytics. We have Olugbemi, okay, currently works as a business data analyst with Law Depot in Canada. We have, and you can watch, Olugbemi's testimonial video in there. And we have many of our participants like that, okay? And if you want to see more, please go to our YouTube page. Go to YouTube, type Tenalytics, just search for Tenalytics, right? And you see tons and tons of videos, including many of our participants sharing their own first-hand experience with us here at Tenalytics and how we've been able to, help them move from zero to hero as far as the tech space is concerned. Okay, so you can also click the link here when you get the slide. Visit our YouTube page, and you will also gain access to some of the other juicy videos we have in there, right? As well as some of our past master classes, and you can gain insight into what it feels like, being a participant with Tenalytics. Okay, and we have more, more testimonials. Abdurrashid got a job as a data scientist with Chow 420 in the US. Okay, he actually works remotely for this organization from Nigeria. Rashid is in Nigeria, works for Chow 420 in the US, earns in dollars. Same goes for Victor. Victor works with Hugo. Hugo is based in Chicago, Illinois. Victor works as a people operations analyst. Now, and he got his job after registering with us at Tenalytics. He's also in Lagos, Nigeria. Works remotely for for an organization based in the US. We have Maureen, we have Thelma, we have Rofiat, and you can see all their testimonial videos in here, right? So, and again, you also want to leverage the YouTube, our YouTube page, right, to see more of these videos. So I want you to watch this video, take a look at this one also, and every single one of them when you get the slides. Okay, And just like I mentioned at the beginning of the program, many of our participants now work, with the best organizations across the globe, and you can just start to imagine what kind of remuneration they get, in their day to day. So the key question now is, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to take that leap with us here at Tenalytics, to get into one of our programs and, you know, um, get started, as a data scientist? So at this point, right, I'll begin to take questions, okay? I'll begin to take questions. So if you have any questions, so I'll just first take some of the questions in the chat. So please, I don't have any tech experience. Will it be easy to sail through this course? Now, a very, very valid concern that you have. That's Chiazo. Now, okay, somebody's saying let's show pricing, so I'll just take it back a bit. Some of us want to see the pricing. Now, guys, again, you have industry experts who have walked this journey. For example, I'll share a bit of experience, with you, and let's hear from some of our experiences. I remember when I started out with Python, I was one of the few people who actually got exposed to Python, during my undergraduate days, right? So I got exposed to Python very early. But what did it do? Just like many of us on the call said, oh, Python is difficult. Okay. I detested Python. I didn't want to, I just wanted to, pass the exams, and that was it. To get the lowest possible score to pass the exam. We're literally writing Python codes on paper. And you can imagine how that would feel. So Python, I didn't want to hear anything concerning Python. Okay. So going through from that, going through from that stage to becoming an industry expert, who uses Python in his day-to-day solving problems. I actually worked with Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo is one of the leading luxury car brands based in Italy. If you've ever heard of Ferrari, okay, many of us know Ferrari. Ferrari and Alfa Romeo used to be sister organizations under the Fiat Chrysler Group up until 2016, when Ferrari became a standalone organization. So I solved a problem, a supply chain problem, all right, with an inventory management system problem within Alfa Romeo in the US. Okay, so you as an absolutely as an absolute beginner, okay, the program has been designed to also suit you, walking you from literally what is data or what is data science, walking you through what you need, right, to know, not the mundane, class activities that you do in the university, where, you deal with theory with no actual problem to solve, no actual business problems to solve. Okay. So you have industry experts who will take you through, who have experienced what you are about to do. Okay, rising from zero knowledge to where they are, and they walk you through, and put your best foot forward. So I'm not seeing some hands up. So I can see, can a data scientist work as a data analyst? Are both roles any different? Yes, they are different, but yes, a data scientist can work as a data analyst. Now, you see, prior to these few slides, I mentioned that we have some types of analytics, the descriptive, the diagnostic, as well as the predictive analytics. Now, as a data scientist, you do more of predictive analytics, all right? Predictive analytics. You do more of predictive analytics as a data scientist. But before you even get into the predictive side of things, you would have done the descriptive as well as the diagnostic analytics, which is the core and the primary function of a data analyst. So a data analyst cannot do the kind of predictive analytics that you would be doing as a data scientist. So, but you can function as a data analyst as well. Okay, and we've added Tableau to this tool stack that you'll be learning. As you can see here, we've added Tableau, a powerful visualization tool that you'll be learning. Okay, so it's one of the the tool stack of a data analyst as well. So it means that it puts you at this pedestal that makes you stand out in the job market. So you are not just an ordinary data scientist. You are fully packed. You are fully packed with the necessary skill to get started, get ahead and even stay ahead as far as the job market is concerned. Talking about data science alone gives me the impression that is all you're offering for this October. Now, if you look at the title of this session, okay, it is getting started with Python. All right. And we're focused more on the data science side of things for this session. Okay. If you were in some of our sessions a few days ago, we talked about how to get started as a data analyst. All right. Some of our sessions coming up, across the coming few days, you'd see myself, some other team members in-house talking about how you can get started as a business analyst. Okay, we have sessions talking about how you can get started as a data engineer, how you can get started as an HR analyst, a financial analyst, a power platform engineer, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this session is specifically for the data science. That's why you see me talking more about the data science. So don't get the impression that all we do at Analytics data science, offer data analytics, offer data engineering as well. Data engineering is one of the most highly paying jobs you can get in the tech space, right? So somebody's asking, if I learn data analysis now and decide to come back to learn data science, do I get discounts? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. And a lot of our participants, are leveraging that, opportunity. So a returning participant you won't pay the usual price. You get an additional discount, for registering for our data science program. And we have a lot of our participants who have done that. For example, if you paid close attention to some of the testimonials that I was sharing, you'd see that you had some of our participants, who actually leverage that opportunity. So a returning participant, would get a discount. For example, you can see Ubong took our data analytics program, and after completing the data analytics program, registered for the data science program. So Ubong got an additional discount to take the data science program. So somebody's asking, in what field does each program fall in terms of job opportunity? Very good question. It's also a popular question. So you're trying to make a decision. Should I go for the data analytics? Should I go for data science? Should I go for data engineering? Now, one thing to note about the tech ecosystem, especially the data side of tech, is that from now up until 2030, year 2030, we'll still have a shortage, of data professionals in the tech world. Okay, and this means that the programs that you have in analytics, okay, are high in demand, and that's one of the key factors we considered in selecting these programs. So, are they easy to learn? Check. Will it be easy for you to transition into the tech space? Check. Will it be easy for you to get a job? Check. So those are the key properties of all the stacks that we offer here at Analytics. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. So we have a participant on the call, right? We have a participant on the call who would love to speak. So Anthony Odemi, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Anthony?
Yes, I'm with you. Good evening.
Okay, fantastic, Anthony. Good evening, and thank you for taking our time, here on the call. So, do you want to share some of your experience, with us? How's it been? How's it like, analytics?
All right. Good evening, everyone. My experience with Tenalytics started in April. I started my course with Tenalytics in April. And during the course, I was able to gain a lot. The training modules were so fantastic. The training sessions that we had during the weekends, the watch me do it videos, all of these added together a wonderful experience and a wonderful journey throughout the course. Before joining, I didn't have any foreknowledge or prior knowledge about Python. But during the course of it and with my own passion and commitment to learning, I was able to gain vast knowledge about Python and other courses like Tableau and the likes. And that actually facilitated me in being able to handle some projects. You know, our capstone project was fantastic. We had a project that would predict the customers that would cancel a subscription to a telecoms company, and they were able to discover trends and patterns whereby the companies were not doing certain things that would have increased their customer retention. Rather, those things they didn't do were causing those customers to leave, you know. So we're able to generate insight, we're able to give recommendation to the company on what to do in order to increase their customer retention strategy, and to know which customer will leave based on certain things and parameters. And all of these things we learned during the course, and we're able to put it together in handling the project. And it was a very fantastic one. That actually has prepared me for future opportunities. And I want to use this opportunity. It's been a wonderful experience. It's been a wonderful experience, if I must say. We also had mentorship sessions. We had one mentorship sessions where we were taught on how to prepare our CV. Now, I don't have a CV before now, and that session and a special session that they also organized for us later on had helped me. And now I have a CV that I can present to any company at request. And they taught us how to attend interview. They taught us how to do a lot of things, because you see, there's a part that does the training, and there's a part that prepares you for the job itself. So all of these things together, we got them. I got them at Tenalytics alongside with my course mates, and it has really helped us. Some of us have started attending interviews. Some of us have started doing some wonderful things. And it's all because of the journey we started in April with Tenalytics. Thank you.
Fantastic one, Anthony. And thank you for sharing your experience so far. So Anthony is a current participant with us at Tenalytics, and you can hear from the horse's mouth. Okay. And again, I want you to go to our YouTube page. All right. Go to our YouTube page. When you also get this material, look through the testimonials closely, and you'll see some of the testimonials our participants have given. Okay. Now somebody's asking, will you assist in installing these apps, or how to download and install this app on our computers? Absolutely. Right. So immediately you make payments and you upload your proof of payment, which is your payment receipt, you get a welcome kit. All right, and you get added to the new class starting on the 7th of October. Right. So your welcome kit, you'd see how you to how to install many of these applications, all of these applications. And you also have a session before your first class. So let's say you tried it, it's not working, you run into some form of errors. You have an actual session, where you get to share your screen, and you have the facilitator walk you through on how you get this softwares installed before you get started. So you're coming into the first class all set and ready to roll. So I hope that answers your question, Ife. So what's the cost for data science? Sorry, I came late. So that's for Samsung. So that's exactly what I'm presenting currently, as you can see on my screen, right? 200, currently we're running a discount, which is 270,000 naira if you're paying in naira, and you can also pay instrumentally. All right, first payment to join 180,000 naira, and then 90,000 naira after the program has reached the 1 month mark. Okay, so somebody is asking, so data analytics is a subset. Supposedly, data analytics is a subset of data science, right? My question is, joining as a data science student, will I be exposed to data analytics too, or I have to pay separately for them? Now, so one thing to note is this, right? We have a very good understanding of who a data scientist and who a data analyst is, right? So the data analyst covers and focuses more on descriptive and the diagnostic side of analytics, while the data scientists focus more on the predictive and prescriptive side of the of analytics. Okay, also a bit of the descriptive and diagnostic, because that's how you start your analysis, just like we've done together. You explore your data and then you take a step further into predicting based on your findings what's likely going to happen based on the data in future, right? So now, when you register for the data analytics program, you will be learning Python in there, because that's the data analytics program, focused more on learning your Excel, Power BI, Tableau, SQL for querying your database. Remember, I mentioned your data is stored in a location. So you need to extract data from that location. So you need to speak the language of the data source. So SQL is that language you use. And the language is very close to your natural language, right? So it's super easy to learn, okay? So it's not a programming language, it is a query language. It's a query language, all right? So, yeah, that's what you'll be learning in the data analytics side of things. You'll also be learning ChatGPT, how you can leverage ChatGPT, to making very tedious and arduous activities seamless and easy. Also improving your productivity as a data analyst or as a data scientist. So not just showing you how to use it, but you'll see professionals showing you how they use it in their day-to-day, and you can learn from real-world experience, right? Now, for the data science side, okay, you start with statistics, all right, and then you see how you do statistics in Excel. So it's practical. How do you use statistics, some statistics basics to generate insights from data. Okay, your mean median mode. How do you use your mean median mode to identify outliers? Remember, some of us mentioned outliers. Outliers are simply the black sheep in your data, and we all know that we've all seen that being the black sheep does not necessarily mean that it's negative. It's a negative thing, all right? So you could be the only one earning the highest amount on an annual basis, all right? So that is one of the things you'll be learning in data science, how you can use data science and statistics to generate insight. So you focus more on the predictive side of things, but you also learn the EDA. You saw the EDA, exploratory data analysis. So that's where you'll be exposed to descriptive and diagnostic analytics. Okay, univariate, multivariate, and so on and so forth types of analysis. So you get deeper into it. And again, you'll be starting from ground zero and you work your way up. So iPhone says, please, I joined the class late though I think I may be in the wrong class. I'm interested in biz analysis. This how do I join the class from the beginning? So all you need to do is you'd see my colleagues posting the links in the chat that you can definitely click. All right, and then we also have the link to join our WhatsApp group. So one of my colleagues will make that available, so you can join the WhatsApp group. All right, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn. So go to LinkedIn, type Analytics, and ensure you follow us so you don't miss any of our upcoming programs. So we hold master classes cutting across all the different stacks that we offer here at Analytics, from data science to data analytics to business analysis. So, but if you're looking to pay for or to enroll for the upcoming business analysis program, starting also on the 7th of October, all you need to do is to click the link already posted in the chat by Brimer. See the link, click on the link and make payments. You also attached to the link is the details if you want to make payments by bank transfer to our UK account or our Nigerian accounts. If data science will also, somebody's asking if data science will also prepare us for data analysis. What is the essence of having data analysis? Very good question. Very good question. Now, data analytics will take you through a deep dive into descriptive and diagnostic analytics. Right? So it's a different ball game entirely. And this is the analysis you do when you're not focused on, you are focused on actually what's happened and why that happened. What happened and why that happened. So as a data analyst, that's your function. For the data scientist, you do what we call the EDA, exploratory data analysis. The reason is not for you to go on to, do the work of a data analyst, but it's a preparation for you to run your predictive analytics. So the information is for you as a data analyst, okay? Your exploratory data analysis, you explore your data, okay? Especially when you want to do predictive analytics, you first of all explore your data, see what the data is talking about, so that you can know what are the biases, is your data balanced or imbalanced, and how is it likely to affect your prediction? Because you don't want to make prediction when your model is biased to one side of your data. For example, let's say you have more female than male in your data set, significantly more female than male in your data set. If you're going to run an analysis to predict that, based on gender, who is likely to leave, you may have your model being biased to the female because female are more in the data set. So how do you balance your data, right? Before you know how to balance your data, you first need to explore your data, create the visualizations just like we did in today's session, and that's the descriptive part. So because you have that knowledge, you can also double as a data analyst. Okay, you double as a data analyst to perform descriptive analytics, and you'll be using Tableau. I hope that answers your question. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Do we have anyone on the call who would want to unmute and ask their question? You can raise up your hand so I call you out to unmute. Okay, so I'm not seeing any hand up at the moment. Okay, so I think I'll take more questions, a few more questions in the chat, and then we can call it a day. All right. So I missed out on some of the information. Is this course strictly classroom based, or can someone participate virtually? Now it's 100% virtual. Okay, just as you are on this call currently, when you enroll for one of our programs, you have classes, live classes on Saturdays. If you're in the UK, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday, right? And on Sundays, you have your self-paced Watch Me Do It video preparing you for the next class. Okay, and I also mentioned that you have access to the recordings of the class, lifetime access. You also have lifetime access to your Watch Me Do It videos. You also have lifetime access to your facilitators. So even if you must have gotten a job, okay, you run into some things you need some clarifications on, you get access to your facilitator and walk you through the process. So that's how the program is. So and you can see Elijah responding to some of the questions also chat. All right. So yeah, where are we to find today's recorded lecture? Will it be through our individual emails or YouTube? Thank you. So it's on both platforms. All right. So even before it gets uploaded to YouTube, you may likely get access to the recording via your email if you fill in the attendance. So the attendance link has also been posted in the chat by Brimer just now. All right. So Brimer has been posting it, so you can if you check in the chat now, you see the form for you to register, so you can gain access to the recording of this particular session. Okay, so also subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Subscribe, like videos, okay, and then you'd gain access to many of our previous sessions or any of the sessions that you must have missed. And again, most importantly, tons and tons of our participants who have given their testimonials. Okay, you see a lot of them in there giving their testimonials firsthand, and you can also enjoy that in our YouTube channel, on our YouTube page. So if you gain something in today's session, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, okay, so that we can start to round up. Right? Give me a thumbs up. Did you learn anything, or did you find the session impactful? Do you like more of these sessions, or would you like to be one of our participants? So you can type in the chat. Let me see your responses before we call it a day. Adewale says, very insightful session. Okay, very insightful session. Uche says, well delivered. Oluwaseun gives a thumbs up. Engineer Omeke gives a thumbs up as well. Kenny gives a thumbs up. Fantastic. Okay, fantastic review, guys. So again, take advantage of the discounts currently running. Okay, so that you don't get left out. Okay, Oluwaseun says, you blew me away. Right. So I mean, this is what we stand for here at Analytics. All right. So we've gone through this exact same journey you're trying to thread, and based on that experience, we'll be guiding you so that you put your best foot forward. Okay. So thank you everyone for taking our time to be on today's session. Okay, we hope to see you in class on October 7th, 2023. So cheers, guys.